you ever wondered what the largest bears to ever roam the earth might look like if they were still alive today? Just how powerful was this massive, fur-covered creature? And could a human survive an unexpected encounter with one? Indeed, there was once a species of bear so colossal that today's lions, tigers, and even polar bears pale in comparison. Weighing over 4,400 pounds and standing up to 14 feet tall on its hind legs, Arctotherium angustidens was one of the largest predatory mammals to ever walk the earth. The story of this ancient bear, from its evolution to its extinction, reveals astonishing truths about prehistoric life in South America. In 1935, in Buenos Aires, Argentina, a team of paleontologists made a remarkable discovery during an excavation: a massive fragment of bone. At first, they believed it belonged to an elephant, but once measured and assembled, the emerging form left the entire team stunned. A bear so immense, it shattered every known limit of science at the time. It was a reflection of an era when nature knew no boundaries and only the strongest could survive. In today's documentary, join us as we explore one of the most fearsome and mysterious predators in Earth's history. And what's more remarkable, traces of it still exist on Earth alongside humans to this very day. 3 million years ago, a natural event reshaped the entire history of our planet. Rising slowly from the ocean floor, a narrow strip of land emerged, connecting North and South America after more than 150 million years of separation. This was the Isthmus of Panama, the gateway to one of the greatest animal migrations Earth has ever witnessed. From this moment, thousands of species began their journey across continents. From the north came lions, wolves, and horses. From the south, giant sloths and ancient pangolins. These creatures stepped into each other's territories. Nature began one of the most brutal selection processes in history. This massive migration sparked an explosion in biodiversity, but also ignited bloody battles for survival. Species that had never encountered each other were now forced to compete within the same landscapes. And as nature dictates, the strong adapted and thrived, while the weaker were lost to time. Before the Isthmus of Panama formed, South America had been a paradise for gentle, giant herbivores, such as ground sloths, ancient camels, and long-snouted pigs. It was a land teeming with rich, unsuspecting prey, yet severely lacking in powerful predators. And then, as fearsome hunters poured in from the north, the balance collapsed. Prey animals that had never known fear were thrust into a brutal new fight for survival. Amid this wave of migration came a small, unremarkable species. Arctotherium, the earliest ancestor of the giant prehistoric bear. When it first arrived in South America around 1.7 million years ago, it was no larger than today's black bears, nimble, agile, but far from extraordinary. But the new land changed everything. South America at the time was home to massive, slow-moving herbivores with little to no experience dealing with powerful predators. With no rivals and few natural enemies to hold it back, Arctotherium began to evolve, growing larger with each generation. Its body transformed into something terrifyingly powerful. Massive shoulder bones and thick pectoral muscles, all built with a single purpose: to overpower prey. Its leg bones were twice as thick as those of modern bears, capable of supporting a body weight that could crush a fully grown deer. Its jaws and teeth evolved like steel, able to shatter bone with a single bite. Over time, from a small and overlooked creature, Arctotherium became the largest bear species ever to walk the earth. Adult males could weigh nearly 4,000 pounds and stand over 13 feet tall when upright, dwarfing all modern bear species, including the polar bear. But sheer size was only part of the story. What made Arctotherium truly terrifying was its uniquely adapted physique. Its forelimbs were as thick as an elephant's tools for slamming down prey or facing off against any challenger. With a short snout and an enormous, solid skull, this beast could generate a bite force strong enough to crush a horse's bones in a single chomp. Its sense of smell was extraordinarily advanced, capable of detecting prey from miles away. Combining strength, speed, and razor-sharp senses, Arctotherium rose to become a prehistoric apex predator, a symbol of raw, primal power. A towering hunter so formidable that even cave lions and ancient wolves would keep their distance. Yet, in a surprising twist, Arctotherium was not solely a carnivore. Archaeological research has revealed that its diet was far more diverse than once believed. Tooth-wear patterns indicate that, in addition to hunting, this giant bear also consumed plants, from fruits and berries to roots and wild grasses. Carbon isotopes found in its teeth offer further evidence. While meat made up the majority of its nutrition, the giant bear still derived energy from plant matter. This suggests it was an omnivore, a smart survival strategy in the ever-changing environment of ancient South America. Prehistoric South America was a land of vast grasslands, humid rainforests, and sprawling wetlands, each providing a unique source of food. With its remarkable adaptability, Arctotherium could hunt, dig for roots, forage for fruit, or scavenge carcasses when the opportunity arose. Its ability to digest both plant and animal matter gave it a significant advantage, allowing it to survive where other predators could not. A clear evolutionary edge, making it a dominant force in South America's complex ecosystems. But as is often the case in nature, power in the ancient world always came with a price. Around 800,000 years ago, Arctotherium began to vanish from the fossil record. Its disappearance wasn't caused by a single catastrophe, but by a long chain of environmental and ecological upheavals. During the massive north-to-south migration of species across the Americas, Arctotherium wasn't alone. Other creatures evolved over time and began to challenge its dominance. Saber-toothed cats, hunting dogs, North American bears, they brought with them diseases and more efficient hunting strategies. Competition intensified, while the large herbivores, Arctotherium's primary food source, began to dwindle. What was once an advantage, its massive size became a burden. It required enormous amounts of energy, yet food was becoming scarce. At the same time, the climate grew colder and drier, forcing many species to either migrate or face extinction. Arctotherium was no exception. Instead of vanishing completely, the Arctotherium genus began to adapt by gradually reducing in size. Later, bear species became smaller, lighter, and developed jaws and limbs better suited for digging and foraging for plants. From an apex predator, it evolved into an omnivore and eventually, in some cases, even a full herbivore. It was a necessary trade-off: less power, but greater chances of survival. This very adaptation allowed the Arctotherium lineage to persist for hundreds of thousands of years until as recently as 11,000 years ago. The extinction of Arctotherium was not the end of the story. A small branch of its lineage survives to this day in the form of the South American spectacled bear. Much smaller than its ancient ancestor, this gentle bear lives in the misty slopes of the Andes Mountains. Its climbing ability, varied diet, and clever foraging habits are inherited traits, echoes of an ancient survival instinct. If Arctotherium was the southern giant, then in the north there existed a creature equally fearsome. Arctodus simus, also known as the giant short-faced bear of North America. Though often described as the largest bear ever to live, The giant, short-faced bear was actually smaller than its southern relative. But imagine this. In that era, no animal or early human would have had the calm to stop and figure out whether the beast stalking them weighed 1,880 or 2,260 pounds. All that mattered was that Arctotherium was also one of the most terrifying predators of the Ice Age. It was among the largest carnivorous mammals to dominate the Pleistocene epoch. Standing upright, it reached heights of 10 to 13 feet and weighed up to 2,200 pounds, just slightly smaller than Arctotherium. But the way Arctotherium hunted and dominated its territory earned it the title of a perfect hunting machine, unlike its heavier, ambush-inclined cousin in South America. Arctotherium had a tall frame, long legs, a lighter bone structure, and extremely flexible joints. It could run at speeds of 30 to 40 miles per hour, an astonishing feat for such a massive creature. Thanks to this advantage, it wasn't just a scavenger like many modern bears, but an active predator capable of chasing down antelope, wild horses, and even young mammoths. The giant, short-faced bear is considered the fastest bear species in the history of the Earth. Unlike modern bears that walk pigeon-toed, its toes pointed straight forward, enabling swift, powerful, and decisive movement. Its eye sockets were set wide apart but faced forward, providing excellent depth perception and stereoscopic vision. A short, broad snout and enormous nasal cavity allowed for an exceptional sense of smell and the ability to take in massive amounts of oxygen during high-speed chases. The wide jaw, combined with powerful biting muscles, delivered a vice-like grip strong enough to crush bones and extract the marrow within. Though once widespread across North America, Arctotherium was especially common in the western regions of the continent, ranging from Alaska and the Yukon Territory down to Mexico's Pacific coast. Its disappearance is closely tied to environmental changes and the extinction of large herbivores at the end of the Ice Age. Long before lions, leopards, or hyenas became icons of the African savanna, this land belonged to another creature. A towering giant with the body of a bear, the teeth of a predator, and a fierceness unmatched by any carnivore of its time. This was Arctotherium, the ancient bear that once sent tremors through Africa during the Pliocene epoch, around 5 million years ago. Unlike Arctotherium or Arctodus, which evolved in colder climates, Arctotherium thrived under the scorching African sun, competing directly with apex predators like the saber-toothed Machairodus and giant hyenas. And surprisingly, fossil evidence suggests that it was Arctotherium, not the big cats that reigned at the top of the food chain. Arctotherium was a bear with a truly unique appearance. It wasn't round and bulky like today's grizzlies, but lean and muscular, with a short neck, elongated snout, and strong, slender limbs resembling a giant lion more than a bear. It could weigh up to nearly 2,000 pounds and, when standing upright, stood over 10 feet tall, nearly twice the height of an average adult man. But what made this creature truly terrifying wasn't just its size, it was its teeth. Paleontologists discovered that Arctotherium had thick, robust canines, specially adapted for crushing bone. With an estimated bite force of around 15,700 newtons, it could shatter the femur of a horse or buffalo in a single bite. Some fossils even show bite marks on the bones of large animals like rhinos and ancient camels, proof that Arctotherium feared no rival. Some scientists have compared Arctotherium to Allosaurus, the large carnivorous dinosaur of the Jurassic period. Not the biggest, but perhaps the smartest and most dangerous predator in its environment. During the Ice Age, a time when life on Earth struggled against relentless cold, most predators grew fiercer, faster, and more brutal to survive. These were prehistoric hunting machines with strength that surpassed even the modern North American grizzly or Arctic polar bear. From fragments buried for millions of years, science has reconstructed their form and their formidable power. Every bone, every bite mark tells a story of adaptation, survival, and the hunting strategies that once allowed these creatures to rule the planet. Yet in this world of predators, there existed a giant with a fearsome appearance who chose a different path, a plant-based diet. This was Ursus, better known as the European cave bear, one of the largest ancient bear species to ever walk the earth. Like its relatives, Ursus had an enormous build, standing over 10 feet tall when upright and weighing more than 2,200 pounds, comparable to Arctotherium of North America. Its large skull, broad shoulders, and long curved claws gave it the look of a formidable predator. But when paleontologists closely examined its teeth, they made a surprising discovery. Most of its molars were flat and worn, characteristic of herbivorous animals. This meant that instead of chasing prey, Ursus survived on grasses, roots, and berries. But don't let its vegetarian lifestyle fool you. Ursus was still a massive beast with astonishing strength. A single swipe of its paw could bring down an Ice Age wolf or snap the neck of a full-grown deer. When threatened, it could rear up on its hind legs, bare its teeth, and let out a deafening roar enough to drive off any predator. This defensive power earned it the nickname, the Gentle Giant. It didn't attack, but few dared to attack it. While others relied on brute force to survive, Ursus adapted through energy conservation, feeding on plants, hibernating through winters, and avoiding conflict. This strategy allowed it to endure for most of the Ice Age, before vanishing around 24,000 years ago, coinciding with the expansion of modern humans across Europe. The name cave bear comes from its habit of sheltering in the deep caves of the Alps and Carpathians. Thousands of cave bear skeletons found in icy caverns reveal a unique behavior. They hibernated communally, sometimes with dozens sharing the same den. As the Ice Age came to a close, Europe's forests began to warm, and the millennia-old glaciers slowly melted. Along with them, the cave bears of Ursus faded into extinction. Far to the south, under the scorching sun of North Africa, another member of its lineage still clung to survival. Known as the Atlas bear, it was the only and the last bear species to have lived on the African continent. In stark contrast to its Ice Age cousins from Europe, the Atlas bear was born into a world of rock, dust, and searing heat. There were no deep, cold caves for shelter, and no blankets of snow in which to hibernate. To survive there, the Atlas bear's body had to evolve, becoming leaner, more agile, and more resilient than ever before. What fossil evidence and historical records reveal is that the Atlas bear measured around 6.6 feet in length and weighed between 660 and 880 pounds. Not as massive as Arctotherium in North America, but strong enough to withstand the harsh conditions of the Atlas Mountains. Its shoulders and forelimbs were especially powerful, allowing it to dig for roots, flip rocks in search of insects, or even break through soil as hard as steel. It had a short but incredibly strong jaw, with flat, grinding teeth, clear signs that its primary diet consisted of plants, hard seeds, and roots, occasionally supplemented with carrion. The bear's coat was short and sparse, dark brown or jet black, designed by nature to endure the searing daytime heat and the sudden chill of desert nights. Its fur, often deep black or reddish brown, gave the Atlas bear the appearance of a giant burning ember under the sun. The Atlas bear was mostly active during late afternoon and nighttime, moving either alone or in pairs. Its skull had narrow nasal passages, an evolutionary adaptation similar to that of desert foxes, helping to minimize water loss while breathing in dry air. What made it remarkable was not its size, but its extraordinary resilience. It survived across rugged, unforgiving terrains and was strong enough to defend itself against prehistoric lions and leopards. This creature wasn't aggressive, it preferred to avoid conflict, living slowly and conserving energy. But that gentleness made it vulnerable. When humans began settling in North Africa, they brought with them tools, hunting rifles, and fear. Ancient Roman records describe large beasts captured in the Atlas Mountains, then transported across the Mediterranean to battle lions or gladiators in the arenas of Rome. It was the first and the last time an African bear appeared in human history. The extinction of the Atlas bear marked the end of the bear lineage in Africa, a continent once teeming with apex predators. It stood as final proof of how far northern creatures once traveled in search of survival. In the previous sections, we've explored nearly the full evolutionary history of ancient bears, from swift and deadly hunters to gentle giants hiding in Europe's icy caves. Each creature represented a different branch of the same lineage giants that ruled the planet for hundreds of thousands of years. And then, they all disappeared. The question is, why? Millions of years of evolution gave rise to animals of immense size and power. Yet in just a few thousand years at the end of the Ice Age, they all vanished, one by one. It wasn't disease. It wasn't an asteroid. It was a chain of seemingly invisible changes, beginning with the climate and ending with the arrival of a new species, humans. Around 2,000 years ago, the Earth began to warm. Ice sheets hundreds of meters thick in the northern hemisphere began to melt, unleashing massive rivers and reshaping entire ecosystems. The cold steppes where Arctotherium once reigned were gradually replaced by dense forests and sparse grasslands. As prey migrated and grasslands vanished, the giant bears quickly found themselves in crisis. They were creatures born into a frozen world where size and strength were the keys to survival. But as temperatures rose, that very advantage became a burden. Heavier bodies required more energy, more food, just as food became scarcer. Fossil records show that Arctotherium had to travel hundreds of miles each season in search of prey. In South America, even the mighty Arctotherium, capable of bringing down giant ground sloths, couldn't compete with emerging predators like saber-toothed cats, American lions, and ultimately prehistoric humans. Humans arrived with fire, spears, and the strategy of coordinated group hunting. To the towering rulers of the Ice Age, humans at first seemed like insignificant creatures, barely worth noticing. But in Europe, archaeological evidence reveals that Ursus, the cave bear, was hunted by humans for its meat and fur. Many caves contain bear bones alongside traces of fire and stone tools, proof that the two species once shared the same territory, and that only one survived. Scientists refer to this as the late competition effect. As humans expanded their range, every large mammal lost ground. Not just bears, but mammoths, woolly rhinos, and cave lions were also driven to extinction. Today, bears still roam the planet. But whether in Alaska, Siberia, or the Arctic, they are merely fragments of a once great dynasty that ruled the Earth. From Africa to the Americas, the giant bears that once dominated the planet have all disappeared. But their story remains a reminder that strength is never eternal, and even the mightiest creatures cannot escape the passage of time. Which of the 5 giant bears we talked about impressed you the most? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for watching until the end of the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel so you won't miss out on more fascinating content. Goodbye, and see you next time.